I don't think anyone pulls it off in current world chess, just like Abdusattorov can. And the deaths are over. First move on the board. Again, pawn to e4. It looks like we're very much headed towards king's pawn territory in all of these semi-finals today. And it is another Spanish opening. Yes, it is. White's bishop landing on b5, putting some pressure on black's knight. Will we see copycat with the other game? Previously, no archangel from Abdusattorov. He prefers to develop his bishop just one square. There we go, more classical territory here.
Very interesting how both players, Nodirbek and Fabi, have stuck to the opening that they chose for game 1.
The thing is, they lost those games, so sometimes we're results oriented, but the play was good from both of them. It was not their opening's fault. So it's smart of both of them to stick to this opening that did them well in terms of equalizing. And for Nodirbek in particular, I think he needs to stay solid. You don't want to play overly risky stuff in the opening against Wesley, so he punishes so many players. He started with 6 match wins in a row, but now that I think about it, Wesley's most recent match before this one was a loss to Fabiano Caruana. Then he just lost his last game to Nodirbek Abdusattorov. So if we cut the tournament past round 6, when we started with the perfect score, there's something when you are leading the tournament that you start getting not lazy, but you don't need to win as much. He was already through the semifinals. Do you think that can affect him?
Definitely. It feels like yesterday was a bit of a rest day for Wesley. So yes, he lost to Fabiano early on. It feels like distant, kind of forgotten history at this point. But Wesley, it feels the wind has been taken out of his sails. Yes, he was on that hot streak. And normally when you're on a hot streak, you don't want kind of an easier game or a non-important game. You want to keep pushing, challenge yourself for more and more. And yeah, Wesley, he hasn't replicated the form he showed in the first few days, just in the last 24 hours. But this one, in the meantime, still a very kind of typical position for this opening. He's traded off a set of pawns on the queen side, and White is getting ready to build a big pawn center. Early days, of course, there we saw the air quality. Shout out to Air Things. I wanted to say great chair quality as well in the playing hall. Magnus today with great hair quality, and I'm hoping for more of the same.
Nodirbek with great stare quality. So
you outdid me.
Yeah, we can keep doing this forever. But Wesley, something's going on. What is he bothered by right here? He's shaking his head a little bit. I know he doesn't like to look at his opponents, or sometimes he covers his eyes just so he can focus on the moves. But it does seem like something's bothering him.
He looks very uncomfortable, and I can understand the head in hands to just avoid any of those Nodirbek stares, but it actually feels like something about the position. Wesley is not pleased. He gets up and leaves.
Maybe he knew we were talking about him, and that's always uncomfortable when someone's talking about you, but you can't hear. But I'm actually wondering if he's still thinking about the previous game. off the board. All the knight, knight has to do is sacrifice out for the G pawn. And here we see Nodirbek continuing to press. He wants to push those pawns, and Tanya, if we can get that rook and bishop versus rook, that does give Nodirbek legit chances. And now that pawn's on G4, maybe he becomes vulnerable.
That's a big target now, and Black's rook is perfectly placed to start giving the check and creating some pressure against that white G4 pawn. Right now, you take the knight. Luckily for Wesley, it comes in with a check, and the G4 pawn still hangs.
He's doing everything right though, Abdusattorov. He's putting pressure on White's knight and things are collapsing for Wesley, so this is a check. Ooh, the black h6 pawn is up for grabs, so he might be holding, but suddenly it's dangerous. Suddenly you've got to be really, really careful.
What is this endgame magic that Nodirbek always manages to create?
The white king could be in a mating net if you're not careful. I thought that black king was going to forward up to f4.
White knight is trapped almost.
And you get to take a pawn with check and move your rook with check. So you'd have 2 full pawns ahead. Is Nodirbek Abdusattorov.
Wesley so shakes his head as the second pawn drops. Nodirbek is winning this position, but can he finish the job?
I think he will finish the job. What has that white knight done? It's committed the cardinal sin of placing itself on the edge of the board, then it's not coming back. Black's 2 pawns now connected plus pawns should win this game.
The black king should go up into the position he goes back for a turn, but it can go forward and help deliver a checkmating net against the white king. And there are 2 pawns there. The knight is far away. Wesley just making move after move on the increment. It looks like right now Nodirbek is all under control.
With just 7 seconds for Nodirbek, the pawns push forward. White's rook and knight completely lacking any coordination in this position.
And you can see Wesley shaky hands, pure determination from Nodirbek. It's just grit. His hard work is paying off.
1 move away from winning. That pawn is about to get to h2.
There's 2 of them. Black has 2 of the pawns though, and Wesley resigns.
Nodirbek Abdusattorov also gets the back-to-back victory and takes the lead in his match against Wesley. So the magic of Toronto comes to a stop for Wesley.
Maybe that script has flipped. The Uzbek phenom gets a win. We saw a brief smile on his face, but ever the competitor, look at that steely determination. He's going to get prepared, get set for game 4 because he knows Wesley's going to give it his all.